Hello, it is Throwback Thursday, October 11th, 2018. Steve Sipress here, overlooking the 13th, or you're overlooking behind me, the 13th green and fairway here on the North Course, one of 3 or 4 different courses here, I think, at the Innisbrook Golf Resort in beautiful Tampa. Sunny day today, you can see blue skies above. Been a little rainy for a couple of days. You might have heard a hurricane came through a few hundred miles away, but still here in Florida, but only dumped a little bit of rain here, not the devastation that occurred, of course, close by. And speaking of Florida, Christine Moore is here, also not affected by the hurricane, at least not very much, I am guessing, since you're all the way over on the northeast coast of Florida. Anyway, so Throwback Thursday, usually I delve back into the archives and I share something from the past. In this case, since I'm on the road, and I didn't really bring anything out of my storage or archives or closet, I will tell you that I first played golf with my dad, who took me around when I was about 10 years old, and all I did was kind of drive the cart. Or I don't even think I drove it back then, but I would ride in the cart and be a little unofficial amateur caddy for him. And then a few years later, I think I was about 12, he gave me a couple of lessons, and I started playing golf and fell in love and still love playing golf. However, I stink. And so that is the topic of today's video. And see, Christine missed the part where I just said I stink because she's asking about my green blazer. Inside joke for those of you who understand golf and know that the very best golfer in the world who wins the Masters tournament gets to wear the green jacket. A jacket clearly I will never wear, because not only will I not win that tournament, I will not win any tournament. And that's the topic of today. So the number one reason why I don't keep score in golf is because I stink. And so, just real frustrating. Why keep score when you stink? Like, I'll keep scoring an individual hole once in a while when I get up to the green and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Am I really here in 2? I have a chance for a birdie or a par. If I here in 3, can I get a par? And like, then if I get it, I go, look, a par. So I kept score for that one hole. But then the very next hole, when I duff the tee shot and then hit the next shot over somewhere and the next one somewhere and whatever, I'm like, yeah, I never have, I don't need a pencil for the scorecard. I like to see, does a hole go to the left or right? How far is it? But I don't keep score about nothing. Now, the time I'll keep score in golf, and it's not even me keeping score, is when I play in a tournament, because that's a lot of the time I play golf is in these charity tournaments, and so you got to do the score thing. But I always say, somebody else count my shots. I'm just not doing it. Like it. I stink, so I don't like counting the shots. And I like playing in the tournament where you get to, everyone hits the ball, and then whoever hit it the furthest or the best, you all hit from that spot. So now there's only one score anyway, and no one has to keep track of my score. So I like that kind of stuff. Now here's the real, and by the way, I play golf very sparingly, even though now I live in beautiful Arizona, where there's golf courses all over the place, and we're now coming to the end. We've already hit the end of the summer season where you can play golf for next to nothing. $20 on ridiculously, unbelievably great golf courses, where in the winter they're $250 to play. So yeah, we played a bunch of golf, and when I play like 2 or 3 days in a week or two, I get sort of good, and I start to get tempted into keeping score. If I get a decent, so I look like after the first 3 holes, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Wait a minute. I'm actually only 1 over par here, and I think about keeping score. And then perfectly, I will mess up the next hole so badly that I'm like, there you go. That must have been a 9 or a 10 or a something, and I'm not keeping score, and we can go back into being relaxed and playing. So number one reason I don't keep score is because I stink. And maybe someday if I play a lot, and then I'll get good, just like with anything else. You do it consistently, you'll get better, and then maybe I'll keep score. But here's the real number one reason. And this is what's going to be appropriate for business owners. If you're marketing your business correctly, is because everything I do all week long in my professional life, which for entrepreneurs, if you're like me, we live, eat, breathe our business. It's not just 9 to 5, it's all the time. Everything is tracked, everything is counted, everything is numbers. I got to know, because I'm doing marketing, advertising, client attraction, anything we're doing, we got to know what's the response rate, what's the cost, what's the acquisition cost, what's the lifetime value. Everything is numbers, everything is tracked. So since I'm tracking all day long how many impressions, how many hits, how many opens, how many conversions, how many this, how many that, the last thing I want to do is get out there to relax on a beautiful golf course, 6,000-7,000 yards of grass and enjoyment. Or in Arizona, a lot of time it's really just desert with some grass at the tee and the green and on the fairway, where I rarely am, so a lot of time no grass for me. Why ruin all that with having to also keep track? I go play golf for that escape away from what business is all about, which is it's all about the numbers if you do it right. Now, if you're just doing it like a hobby, or what unfortunately what most business owners do is the old saying, they would rather work 80 hours a week so they don't have to work 40 for somebody else. So they work too hard, you don't have systems in place, you don't track things, you don't do business properly, so maybe you don't have an overload of keeping score of everything because you're just flying by the seat of your pants and trying something and thinking that, and oh, I don't like the numbers. That used to be me, my first business that I screwed up. That was one of the reasons why I didn't want to get the weekly reports and see all the numbers and all the whatever. I was having fun, my business was growing, and of course when it hit a tough point, then I should have seen those numbers. I would have seen it coming in advance. I would have been able to make better decisions. And so back then I remember my first multi-million-dollar business, like doing all I did was paid a bookkeeper to do annual bookkeeping. And then they would give me some numbers and go, did you know that you're overspending on this and you did that? No, I didn't know, but I didn't care. The business was making money and growing, and I didn't have to work for somebody and have a job, and so all that stuff. Not the right way to do it, folks. But when you're doing your business correctly, it's all about the numbers. That's what business is. It's all about tracking every single thing there is, because what you track, you can improve. If you don't track something, how can you improve it? You don't even know if you'd be improving or not, like the way I play golf. So after I play, if I tell someone I'm going to play golf, or they say, what'd you do yesterday or today I played golf, then the natural question people ask is, how'd you do? They ask, how'd you do? And my response is always the same: unbelievably fantastic, thank you. Which very often gets a stunned response from people. They're like, wow, what was your score? Like, that's what they think my answer is based on. My answer is, of course, not based on the score, because I don't even know my score and I don't even care about my score. I did absolutely fantastic because my goal was to play golf, and I did. So that was absolutely fantastic. And since they're in disbelief going, but it's golf, you're supposed to keep score, and it's all about the score, and what do you mean? How could you do fantastic? How could you say you did fantastic if you don't really know how you did? I'm like, because I know how I did fantastic. Golf is my hobby. My business, I track everything. My hobby, I choose to get away from the tracking. They're like, well, then how'd you know? I say, well, I ask, what's your hobby? Let's say your hobby is watching movies. So if I say, what'd you do last Friday night? Oh, we went out and we watched the movie. Really? How'd you do? Crazy question, right? And they look at me and go, how'd you do? How many, I like reading as a hobby. Well, how'd you do? How many words a minute did you read? How many chapters did you read? How much retention percentage did... We don't keep score of our hobby, right? I like walking on the beach. How many steps? How many shells did you see? How many waves came by? Like, I don't keep score of my hobby. I keep score of everything for a living because I'm a responsible business owner. And I track everything. So my hobby, I did excellent just because I went and did it. Just like if you saw a movie, you'd say the movie was excellent or the movie was crappy. But how did I do? I watched the movie. I guess I did great. I played golf. I did great. In fact, I get the best rate when I play golf. I get the best discount to play golf because I at least get 50% more swings in than anybody else. I mean, I'll play other people take 4 shots. They hit the fairway, then they hit the green, then they 2 putts, and they're in. I'm like, I get a lot more out of it. I hit one in the rough, then had to hit around the tree, then I hit the tree, then I had to hit from the sand trap. I mean, I get so much more playing than anybody else. So that, I did fantastic. There you go. That's it for Throwback Thursday. Eric Goldstein is here. Talk about Throwback Thursday. Mel Gill is here. I was just talking about you to somebody this morning. Mel, my favorite world traveling expert on the other side of the world. Jeremy Danley is here. Scott DeSalvo is here. All kinds of superstars are here. Eric, speaking of Throwback Thursday, was in my original fantasy basketball league in 1984. That was my first multi-million-dollar business. I started it as a hobby with Eric and 6 other friends of mine, 8 of us in that first league. And I built it within 3 years. It was the largest fantasy sports game company in the world. And within 7 years later, it was down to 0 because I screwed it up. That's another story for another day. That'll do it. From the beautiful 13th hole here on the North Course at the Innisbrook Resort in sunny Tampa, Florida. Jim is here. Good seeing you. And Eric says, yes, I was. And, man, what's the matter with me? I don't remember the name of your team. Were you teamed up with Andy Zimmern by any chance? I don't remember the name of your team. What's going on? How do I forget that? I usually remember this stuff, even though it's been however long. Anyway, I was thinking at some point somebody would come by. By the way, on the 2 main courses, I think they're the Copperhead and the Island course, there's an LPGA professional women's golf tournament that started today that'll go through the weekend. So how cool is that? My beautiful wife Michelle told me she had lunch yesterday with a pro golfer. I'm like, what? Yeah, I didn't even know when I came here that there's a pro tournament here this week until my beautiful wife Michelle let me know, yeah, it's a ladies tour event. And so I asked around, and they're like, yeah, it is. As if I should have doubted her. Like, yeah, so there's, but not here apparently. I was hoping some professionals would come by. I was hoping anyone would come by and you'd see some action in the background on the golf course, but I guess as the day is winding down, we don't have anyone coming by, so that'll do it for today's Throwback Thursday Facebook Live video. Thanks everyone being here live, watching on the replay. I will be back tomorrow, still here in beautiful sunny Tampa, with Foundation Friday. I will teach a foundational business building tip to help you grow your business to where you want it to be, end your frustration, and have the lifestyle and the income that you deserve as a hardworking small business owner. I hate the fact that small business owners work real hard, and most of them not only don't make the money they should, but they go out of business. I really hate that. So I'm going to help you to avoid that and have a successful, fantastic, fun business and make a lot of money. And I won't be able to accomplish all that in one video, but I'll give you one little piece of it tomorrow on Foundation Friday. And Christine says, qualifier, I don't think so. I think it was an LPGA Tour event, somebody says. And so your first live view, thanks for being here. I've done one every single day since, I believe, March 26th of last year. So I think if I counted, I've done about 550 days in a row one of these. Thanks for being here. I'm here every day. I'll be back again tomorrow. Great to see you today. Hope to see you back, everybody, tomorrow. That'll do it for today. Over and out. Bye-bye.